Alright people, this is the first Phil Neville show of 2020. And we're going to start off with who will Phil train for, because it was supposed to be either West Brom or Leeds, but they drew 1-1. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go into the bag and see. So since then we had a Tottenham one. I haven't got a team out of the bag for a while. So the team we're going to use today is Notts County. They are in non-league. But in FIFA 13 they are in, obviously a league club in the Football League. So Notts County is the team that Phil Neville will be training for today. So, wow, it's been a while. The January transfer window's open. I'm going to be reading a few bit of gossip. And I've found some interesting stuff out today. So let's start off with the Premier League. So the Premier League, the Christmas period has been very, very hectic for all of us, for football supporters travelling to games. We've been spoilt with football. We've seen the FA Cup. We've seen a lot of Premier League fixtures. Obviously, football clubs are not happy with the fixture, stuff like that. Obviously, I think the last time I remember, we lost to Watford, we beat Newcastle, we beat Burnley, then we lost to Arsenal, drew with Wolves. And then last night's game against, obviously, Manchester City in the League Cup. So yeah, I really don't want to talk about that, to be fair. I want to talk about Premier League. I'll be talking about the Yorkshire Review. Maybe in the future I'll be talking about the Championship as well. So, Ashley Young could be going to Inter Milan. That is an interesting one. So Ashley Young, of course, is 34 years old. United fans don't really want him at the club anymore. I've got nothing against him personally, but we just think, we need to freshen it up a little bit. He's coming towards the end of his career, and I think, Inter Milan is a surprise one. I thought he'd go to a club like Watford or Villa, because he used to play for them. I thought he'd go back. But no, he could be going to Inter Milan, which is a big surprise. Obviously, Romelu Lukaku is there. Alexis Sanchez is there on loan. So, it's an interesting one. Ashley Young to Inter Milan. Is he going to be on the bench? Possibly. He hasn't played. He was our first choice right back last season. And I think it's quite an interesting one. But I wish Ashley Young the best of luck in his career. The next one is an interesting one. Benteke back to Villa. Now, Benteke's goal scoring record has been absolutely appalling since he left Aston Villa. And I think, if he went back, would it make a difference? I'm not too sure. I'm quite surprised that they're going for him. Although he was a former employee at the club, maybe it could change things a little bit. He's not really top choice at Selhurst Park at the moment, and no surprise whatsoever, because the Belgian's been absolutely woeful for the past couple of years. So, I think maybe a move back to Villa Park could be the answer for him. Would he get the goals? They need a striker, do Aston Villa. They need a goalkeeper as well. So, that will be quite interesting. Villa fans, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And we'll see how things will go. So, we're going to talk about the FA Cup now. The FA Cup, I'm talking about this quite quickly. The FA Cup had some, not a lot of surprising results. I mean, there's quite a lot of replays, including United. I think I was quite happy with the draw against Wolves. Spurs were held by Championship Middlesbrough at the Riverside Stadium to 1-1 draw. Arsenal just edged past Leeds United to get a 1-0 win. I did my own FA Cup practice draw. I thought my ties were much better than the actual ones that came out, personally. And I think, I love the FA Cup. I love what it brings up. Newcastle got held by League One Rochdale. That was a really, really good tie. I remember watching that one on Saturday. And yeah, I think, the FA Cup, should be treated with a lot more respect, I think. I think it is, but at this stage, the Wolves United game, it was more like a League Cup game more than anything. I didn't have that FA Cup intensity. And, I watched Gillingham against West Ham, watched a bit of that, I thought the atmosphere from the Gillingham supporters have really got behind the team. So yeah, I think, the FA Cup is really, really good. I think hopefully maybe there might be some shocks in the next round. If United beat Wolves, we will play either Watford or Tranmere. Tranmere came from 3-0 down at Vicarage Road to draw 3-3 on a replay, so that's absolutely mad. So that's quite brilliant, and you know, it's why we love the FA Cup. It brings a lot of shocks up. It can, you know, some great stories as well. Obviously, we saw 40-year-old Aaron Wilbraham of Rochdale score an equalising goal, assisted by 17-year-old Luke Matheson, who scored the equaliser, remember, at Old Trafford in the League Cup tie in a 1-1 draw, and United got to penalties and United went through. It looks like heading out the semi-finals after last night's shambolic performance. So yeah, that's the FA Cup for us for this weekend. You know, a lot of games still to be played. Spurs against Middlesbrough is live on the BBC, so that's going to be interesting. So let's dive into the Premier League predictions. So on Friday, West Ham United travel to Sheffield United in the Premier League. I'm going to predict a 2-0 win for West Ham. Yeah, it's a shock. Sheffield United are doing really, really well, but I think West Ham have got a positive bounce under David Moyes. I feel like they've got a lot of quality. I'm not too sure. You know, Sheffield United have had a couple of, you know, off days. Well, I won't say off days. I mean, they played the best teams in the country, but I don't know. You know, but I feel like West Ham's bounce. I feel they want to continue with that, and I feel, you know, that they can go to Bramall Lane and go get 3 points. It might seem like a shock, but I'm going to go for 2-0 to West Ham. Crystal Palace against Arsenal. Arsenal have not won their last 3 games against Palace, all managed by Unai Emery. And I don't think they're going to win this one either. I think it's going to be a really entertaining 2-2 draw at Selhurst Park in the early kick-off. I think Zaha, who got linked with Arsenal, I think, you know, Palace fans will be up for it. I think Arsenal will show their good attacking intensity. I think it's going to be a really exciting London derby on Saturday lunchtime live on BT Sport. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I can't really pick one of the two teams to win for this one. Chelsea against Burnley. I think Chelsea are going to get a hard fought 3 points. I mean, Bournemouth went to Stamford Bridge and won. Southampton went to Stamford Bridge and won. So yeah, you know, Burnley could go and get a result, and they haven't lost in the last 2 visits to Stamford Bridge. 4 points from the last 2 games, from the last 2 visits to Stamford Bridge. In 2017-18, they won 3-2, and last season they drew 2-2. So I think it'll be a 2-2. I think it'll be 2-1 to Chelsea this time. I think the Blues will get the 3 points. Everton against Brighton, 2 teams who like to attack. Obviously, Carlo Ancelotti's brought a good mentality to Goodison Park. I think Brighton will really have a go. I think this one as well will be a good game as well. Could be one of the first games on Match of the Day. I'm going to go for a 3-2 to Everton in this one. I think the Toffees will just nick it. Leicester against Southampton. The last time these two sides met, Leicester absolutely humiliated Southampton, winning by 9-0 at St Mary's Stadium. I think Leicester are going to win again, but I don't think it'll be as bad, and I think Southampton will score. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Leicester win in this one. I think Danny Ings will continue his form. Manchester United against Norwich. Now, if United don't win this, I'm all out, as I said in my review of last night's game. But I think we'll win against bottom of the league. I think we're going to win by 3-0. I think it'll be a rather comfortable win at Old Trafford. Enough said. I hope I am right. Wolves against Newcastle. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Wolves win. It's a difficult one, this one. I think Newcastle can perform when they want to. You know, they've been on a bit of a crap run. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 Wolverhampton Wanderers win. Spurs versus Liverpool, the big game of the weekend. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool win. Tottenham are quite woeful at the back. And I think Liverpool, of course, are just unstoppable at the moment. Bournemouth against Watford. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Watford victory. I think, I think Nigel Pearson's men are on a really, really good run. Haven't lost since losing to Liverpool in Pearson's first game. I think there's been a big turnaround. I feel Bournemouth are in big trouble at the moment. Aston Villa Man City, the final game of the weekend. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Manchester City. A very comfortable win at Villa Park. So I'm going to go into part 2 now, where I'm going to talk about my final Premier League table prediction. I'll see you soon.